Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to Yugi Dudes. I'm Dante.
And it's me, Chris, again.
So this time we're going to talk about tournament etiquette.
Yeah, tournament etiquette is a thing that gets overlooked a lot. I mean, it's one of those things that seems like it's common sense, but at the same time, people...
You look at that one, Chris.
People forget that it's... You need to have good etiquette in tournament settings. Because if you don't have good etiquette, you're gonna be with that player that everybody goes, ugh, I gotta play against this guy, or oh man, I don't want to see this guy at locals, especially at the local level, because you're gonna see the same people over and over again. So you really don't want to be that guy that everyone despises. So the first thing about tournament etiquette is be a good sport. You know, you're gonna go to tournaments unless you just have the most amazing luck or the most amazing deck in the history of ever. You're not going to win every single game or every single match. It's not going to happen. Very rarely have I seen anybody actually sweep a tournament from start to finish where they go like in, if you're playing 6 rounds, they go 6-0, win 2 games every single match, and then win every game in Top Cut from start to finish. You're probably going to, more likely if you're playing in a higher end tournament like a YCS where you have like 9 rounds, you're going to go like 8-1 if you're really good. 8-2, still probably get you Top Cut. But at the same time, or 7-2 rather, not 8-2, 9 rounds. If you're still making Top Cut, the point is, don't be the guy that no one wants to play because you're a sore loser. I've seen so many of them, and I'll be honest, I've been salty when I've lost before in tournaments too. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Not naming names.
Yeah, no names. But don't be the salty guy, because no one wants to sit across from you if they know if they beat you, you're going to throw up, for a lack of a better term, bitch fit.
Yeah, like when Chris here was teaching me more about how to play. When I first met him, I just knew you put the cards on the field. That's about it. I knew the anime. That was it. But he also tried teaching my little brother at the same time, and my little brother doesn't like to lose.
And, well, I mean, I understand to an extent. Losing sucks in this game. It does.
Oh,
because,
big time.
But sometimes, being a little salty to an extent isn't always bad, especially if you lose a game that you should have won. Like, damn it! I had it set up. I made a misplay. Be mad at yourself, but don't get mad at the other guy because he outplayed you. If you're getting outplayed from the very beginning of a match, and
don't get mad at the judges.
Yeah, don't get mad at the judges. The judges, while they are human and they make mistakes, I made mistakes when I was doing judging.
Looking at 77% of all in-anime Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels.
Yeah, it just
down to his last 200.
Yeah.
Their ass.
Yeah, this isn't sports. You can't yell at the referee.
You can, but you're gonna get thrown out.
Yeah.
But just the vast majority of the time, the judges know what they're talking about. If they don't, you can't appeal to head judge, but head judge decision is always final, even if it is wrong. And again, people are people. They're going to make mistakes. But at the same time, just be a good sport. Don't be the guy that refuses to sign the match slip, because that's going to get you either just an instant disqualification at the very, probably worst case scenario, or you're just going to get the match loss anyway, and then you might be penalized further somehow. Bullet point, be graceful. And it goes the same goes for winning a match. Even if you win a match in the most cheesy way possible, don't be the guy that brags. Sportsmanship goes both ways. You don't want to be known as the guy who wins like one match in a tournament. You could be like luck sacking with Exodia, for example. Be like the guy that managed to, in his very last turn, pull Yugi on Kaiba. Oh, I got Exodia the Forbidden One in my last draw, and then you won one match out of 9. You're not God because you pulled off Exodia one time, or you pulled off, I don't know, bad tournament decks. You pulled off
one of our friends is Red Eyes Black Dragon deck. He pulls off his OTK like once or twice.
Once every like
when we held that tournament stream back like almost a month ago. Well, not even a month ago, like 3 weeks ago.
A few weeks ago, yeah.
On Twitch.
Yeah, and pulling that OTK off. Don't be the guy that wins a game and then just like, oh my god, I'm so awesome. There's a different skill ceiling for every player in the game. some players are newer, some players are older. Another thing about tournament etiquette, speaking of like newer versus older players, if you're a veteran player and you're playing against somebody who's clearly not as experienced as you, don't be the guy that like tries to rule shark. Rule sharking is A, against the rules, and B, it makes you just look bad. It ties in with sportsmanship.
For those that don't know rule sharking, define rule sharking.
So rule sharking is when, if you don't know what rule sharking is when technically you are correct. Like, for example, say one good example that's used online a lot is like a misclick of a card that is supposed to obviously be set, like Snowman Eater, which says when it's flipped face up, destroy a monster on the field. If your opponent, if especially in like a locals, like sort of a casual environment, don't be the guy that if your opponent doesn't realize that a monster might do something a little bit different, don't be the guy that says you 100% can't take this playback. Now, if you're playing in a higher end tournament like a YCS or regionals or nationals, okay, that's
World champs.
Yeah, well, worlds, there's no such thing as a do-over. You make a mistake, that's on you. If you haven't figured out your deck at that high level competition. Oh, that's another point. Know your deck. Know what your deck does. Know how to play it.
Don't put it together the day before.
Unless you know for a fact that you know how to play it.
And there are plenty of websites you can test a deck. I will leave 2 specific links in the description.
I'll just tell you what they are. I'll tell you what they are. You got Dueling Nexus and you got Dueling Book.
Yeah, and I'll throw the links in the description so you can find them easy.
Yeah, those are both great ways to learn how to play decks. That's actually where I really learned and mastered Trickstars was through using the online system. And because when I first saw Trickstars for OCG, I saw Code of the Duelist was coming out. I'm like, I gotta play this. I built it online. I played it. I refined it. I mastered it. And the first time I took it to a tournament, it did really well when it came out of Code of the Duelist. And,
What are you making back here?
another thing of tournament etiquette. Actually, this is etiquette for any social situation. Before you go to a tournament, take a shower. Oh my! This is
in case you heard ear rape. He said ear rape because our thing went. Yeah, take a shower, big time. You're stuck in a big room with a bunch of people.
Yeah, especially if you're going to a multi-day event like a YCS, take a shower before you get to the event. It takes 10 minutes. You're not gonna if you're running that late, you probably should have got up earlier. But take a shower. Save everybody, their old.
Take a shower, deodorant, body spray, everything. Yeah. Nobody wants to smell you.
No, especially because you're going to be sitting in that room, especially if it's a large event. You're going to be sitting in the same room all day long. Another thing of tournament etiquette, it goes along with the things I said you should bring to a tournament. Bring your money. You don't want to be the guy that, hey, can I mooch $5 so I can go get something to eat? Hey, can I, you mind if I steal some of your chips or whatever? You don't want to be that guy either, because while some Yu-Gi-Oh players do have extra money, and some of them probably wouldn't really care too much, especially in the local setting, you don't want to be the guy that's always mooching food or money, to get something to eat. That's just kind of like in general, you wouldn't go over to your friend's house unless they're a really good friend and just start raiding their pantry or refrigerator. Maybe you would. Yeah. You ate my
I raid his, and I ate all his crackers.
Fucker.
Hey, they've been replaced since. That was like years ago.
It was. But at the same
They were good crackers.
They were. They were good crackers.
Thank you, Toll House.
Yeah, no doubt. This video is not sponsored by Toll House.
Yeah, we're not sponsored, just, Toll House.
Another thing of tournament etiquette. This is one of the more finer points, but if your opponent, actually, what happened to her? Oh, there we go.
It freezes
glitched for a second.
Yeah. I'm running budget stuff, so sorry everybody.
Yeah, when you're actually when you're in a duel, and you go to shuffle your deck, not only is it within the rules of the event itself, but always offer your opponent the opportunity to cut. You have to. That's required every single time. Does not matter. And people will call you out on it. But if your opponent offers to let you cut. Because as much as it's almost as rude to not offer to let them cut, it's actually as rude to not actually do the cut, unless you really, really trust your opponent, which you shouldn't. We'll get into that.
Yeah, unless you're dueling with friends, cut that day. Like, I duel with Chris here all the time, and I know he's not going to cheat, so I let him cut. Or I don't let... We don't worry about cutting. We're good.
Yeah, in casual play, you know, most people don't do that. It doesn't really matter in casual play because it's casual. But in a tournament setting, you know, if you're going to a tournament and somebody says, do you want to cut? Just cut. You know, it really it makes it seem like you're more like into the game itself, that you're willing to actually play the game. Another sort of like tournament etiquette thing, no matter whether you won or lost, again, kind of getting back to that point, always say good game, good match, you know, shake hands with your opponent, sign the match slip, get up, move on. It's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. You're not going to...
Don't be a squeaker in Call of Duty that, you know, it's not life. I can't even play Rainbow Six Siege with friends because all they want to do is win. It's just a freaking game.
Yeah.
As long as you had fun.
Exactly. Having fun at the tournament, you know, while again, it does suck to lose tournaments.
You can walk through.
It's not the most important thing in the world. If you're playing locals, chances are you're going to have another one next week that you can attend. Let's see, what's another good etiquette thing? Oh,
Clean clothes.
Yeah, clean. Yeah, wearing clean clothes. It goes along with just the personal hygiene thing.
Yeah, because I've seen... Granted, I work in an industry where I drive a truck. I'm greasy. I'm oily. But beforehand, I'm going to clean off, and I'm going to put a new shirt on. No one wants to come in and see, like, grease stains all over my shirts.
No. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a good one. And again, with like the cleanliness and the hygiene, make sure you wash your hands all the time. No one, and especially in tournament settings, you want to have clean hands, because if you need to see your opponent's cards, like look through their graveyard for whatever reason, you know, people don't want their sleeves getting all like gunky, oily, Cheeto dusty. You know,
that and especially in the winter, it's cold and flu season, people. We don't want to get sick. If you're sick, we don't want that.
That's just general hygiene in overall. Just, you know, don't be gross in tournaments. Is like the general bullet point for that. Don't be gross. Obviously, go to the bathroom, wash your damn hands. You know. Let's see. What else can we cover on the etiquette side of things? Oh. One big point on the etiquette side of things. Now, obviously, you can't be expected to know absolutely everything, but at least have some tentative understanding of what cards do. If you played, especially in like game 2 or 3, if you see the same card multiple times, at this point you should have some understanding of what it does. It's okay to, you know, occasionally ask your opponent, like, hey, what does that card do? Mind if I read it? You know, once in a while. But after you've seen a card a few times, unless you have goldfish memory of like 2 seconds, you should know what the card does at this point.
Yeah, like when you built that Jackpot 7 deck. Didn't take me long to figure out what that one card did. Thank you, Nullburn.
Yeah, I'm going to rework that and build it into a different way. It's going to be a little more consistent. But just kind of general, you know, situations like that. You don't want to be the guy who because your rounds in a tournament are timed. So you don't want to be the guy who sits in game 1 for like 20 minutes just reading card effects, having your opponent explain everything to you. If you're a brand new player and you've never seen certain decks before, it's a little more understandable, but even, you know, judges having to be called all the time gets annoying. That's another thing. Don't always, unless you are 100% certain that, or even remotely certain, don't always call your judges, but don't be afraid to if you need to. That's another thing. You don't want to just assume that your opponent is not necessarily cheating, but just like might not understand. But you also don't want to be the guy who has to call a judge every 30 seconds. Like, oh, one card activates. Judge, how does this card work? Another card activates or tries to resolve. Judge.
At that point, you may as well be watching Judge Judy.
Yeah. I can understand with like really young players and like the Dragon Duel division, you know, maybe they might not fully understand the interactions between cards. Some card rulings get kind of out of whack. Again, you're not expected to know absolutely everything about the game when you're playing it, but just have some general knowledge. That really is kind of like the basics of the etiquette and all.
A big thing, I don't remember if you covered it. It goes with the being very ragey, as I like to say. Yes, you're gonna lose some. You're gonna win some. You're gonna lose some. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, that's a good.
I have watched too many people get discouraged. I'm gonna have to bring him in. You, red shirt, come here. Put your head down in this camera. This one, he wins some, he loses some. During that birthday stream, he made it to the top 4 in my little birthday tournament stream. After he lost, he got very discouraged. But if you see someone getting discouraged, pick them up.
That's a good point.
Pick them up. Bring them back. Repeatedly, I made him... What was it I made you repeat? Where did you make it?
To the top 4.
I made him repeat that he made it to the top 4.
And I've only been dueling for 3 years, and I don't have as much experience as these guys.
He actually brings up a really good point with that, is that, you know, unless you've been playing like literally since day one, and not a lot of people have, chances are at a tournament there's going to be somebody more experienced than you that knows the game a little bit better, and if you go up against them in the tournament and they beat you, that's just gonna be how it is. And sometimes, you know, it's like I said earlier with the skill ceiling thing. Not everybody is equally skilled in the game. Not everybody is going to have, and especially if you're playing a budget deck or a rogue deck in a situation where meta is the thing. If you're playing a budget version of, you know, I don't know, for example, Altergeist, and you're not running like 3 multifigures, you're not running, I don't know really too much about Altergeist, but the point is, if you're running the budget version of everything, while budget can be good, you're
But
probably
it's not enough.
yeah,
Not always.
you know, if a guy's running like 3 infinite impermanents and he's running 3 evenly matched in his deck for whatever reason, granted those are traps, and traps aren't really all that.
And
fun.
Infinite Impermanence is like $80-some on TCG, 98, a little over $100 now on Amazon.
Well, if you're playing
That
against,
guy's willing to spend money.
yeah, if you're playing against Sky Strikers, you know he put like $800 in his deck. But
I just put like 300 in mine.
Yeah, just understand that, you know, with budget, you're not going to necessarily get everywhere you want. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a pay-to-win game.
And we'll cover more about that in another video, especially.
Yeah. That's really all I really wanted to cover with the whole etiquette of tournament things. There's probably more. If you have more, leave them in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hit the little notification bell so you get when we upload. And yeah, and again, I'm going to emphasize it one more time. If you see someone getting discouraged, pick them up. That is a big problem in this world nowadays. People are putting people down. We can't have that. This community can be great. It can also be toxic. But
And the thing about some
pick
things
people up.
is that people can just discourage others for no freaking reason, which is kind of like
yeah, don't be the
disgusting.
guy to discourage people.
Yeah.
Pick people up. Encourage them.
You don't want to be the guy that... Yeah, that's a good point before we wrap it up. You don't want to be the guy that just, like, makes
Screws
somebody
people
quit
over for no
Yu-Gi-Oh! All
reason.
the time.
Yeah, I've seen too many people quit Yu-Gi-Oh because of people like that.
Don't be a thief.
Yeah. So yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and the notification bell. And once again, we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye!
You're not Mark.